Some senators favor a modified enhanced community quarantine beyond the end of the month. We hear more from Senator Ralph Recto, who was once served as Socio-economic Planning Secretary. Good evening, Senator, and thank you for joining us on CNN Philippines. First off, do you support Congressman Salcedo's view that the ECQ has to be extended beyond April 30?
Hi, Rico. Thank you for having me. Well, first of all, let me say that the health of the people should be the main consideration. Restarting the economy must not be at the expense of the health of the people. Now, reopening the economy, which parts and what places, must be data-driven and science-led. So let's listen to the health experts and the scientists to let us know.
All right, but we have 10 days to go before the end of the extension of the enhanced community quarantine, Senator. So if Congressman Salceda, who was one of the major catalysts for the extension of this ECQ to April 30, is he saying then that the government is not doing its job in this mass testing process?
You know, it's not only mass testing. The reason for the lockdown is to flatten the curve, to reduce the transmission of the virus. It buys us time to improve our health infrastructure, particularly in this case, doing mass testing and ensuring that you have quarantine facilities at the local level. So those who test positive, you could quarantine and treat if necessary. And that's what the lockdown is all about. And he is partly correct that we've wasted so much time. And I would expect that there will be an extension of the ECQ, particularly in Metro Manila or in areas in Luzon that you have COVID positive patients and the transmission continues.
So, Senator Recto, what do you think should we hear from the President tonight when he gives his fourth report to Congress?
It's hard for me to speculate, but the most important thing is for him to tell us what the national strategy is. Do we have targets that by a particular period of time, we would be able to test, let's say, 1 million Filipinos, and that we have quarantine facilities in place by a particular period? You know, at the end of the day, we have to build the capacity of our health infrastructure down to the local level, including the quarantine facilities. Work with the private sector, retool certain industries, like hotels and motels, possibly we can use them as quarantine centers, or build. You have 1 million construction workers. We can put them to work. Total open air naman yan, and build these quarantine facilities. So you could exercise social distancing and provide them with masks as well. So that way, you're already restarting the economy too. Remember, the economy is also in ICU. Workers and employers need the financial equivalent of a ventilator, so to speak.
Senator Recto, you were once the Socio-economic Planning Secretary, and we all know that Secretary Pernia resigned last week in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. Do you think that the country can afford this kind of interruption in government at this time?
Could you repeat the question, Rico? Yes, Secretary Peña resigned. And what was the question?
Secretary Pernia resigned last week. Do you think that the country can afford this kind of interruption in government at this time?
Oh, yes. You know, NEDA is an institution. There are very bright people there. I've led it before. I know the people working there. I'm sure they will be able to come up with a plan. Their work will continue.
What do The work indeed will continue. What is your advice then for the incoming NEDA Secretary Carl Chua, who was a former undersecretary in the Finance Department?
You know, I've worked with him on many of the tax measures. He's very bright. He will get the support of the people of NEDA. We're waiting for whatever plans and strategies that NEDA or he will present. I'm sure it's part of the IATF.
Thank you so much for your insights, Senator Ralph Recto.